and welcome to Sports Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos.
Sport greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us in London. I'm Austin Okonakman. Cecilia, I can tell you, London is still buzzing for what Arsenal did in the UEFA Champions League. Beating Real Madrid over 2 legs. Cecilia, I was hearing on local media, they say UEFA should give Arsenal a replica trophy for just, that achievement. Look, it's been crazy celebration. Let's just see if the Gunners can keep it going.
Because, Arsenal have never won the UEFA Champions League. Maybe this is their time. But, you don't have to celebrate so much because PSG is waiting in the wings. You see how Barcelona and Inter Milan, and these are clubs that we know that they know how to win the UEFA Champions League. Yes, Real Madrid 15-time champions. I think it's enough for them. They can just keep that in their cabinet and wait for others to try and catch up with them. It's a time for other clubs to step up and close the gap, because the clubs that have won the highest numbers of the trophy of the UEFA Champions League, if you combine them together, I'm talking about AC Milan and Liverpool, it's not even up to what Real Madrid have won. So you need to combine about 4 clubs together.
Now you understand why Arsenal fans are celebrating the way
they took them away, right?
Beating Real Madrid, and don't forget they haven't been in the semi-finals since the year 2009. So I really understand why they are buzzing. And as we said, they have PSG. Let's see if this win over Real Madrid, we push them towards, getting to the finals.
Yeah, they can dream. It's good to actually dream. All right, this is what the show looks like tonight. Yes, the Champions League will get our attention. We'll take a look at the teams in the semi-finals. Of course, what went down last night between Inter Milan, Barcelona. Of course, Arteta, he's been talking. So if you listen to him on the show tonight. And also, yes, we'll talk about American football, flag football. They're taking it a notch higher, trying as much as possible to ensure more girls are playing the game, not just on the field, but also you have coaches, you have referees, so more women, they want to involve them in the sport. And that's the reason they had to launch Gridiron Gems, which is she hurdles, she wins. She hurdles, she wins. So we'll talk about that on the show tonight. And of course, yes, chess will get our attention because you've got a new champion. He's an undergraduate student. It's always nice when you have university students actually going out of the country, or rather in the country and out of the country, to win a laurels for the country. Yes, a chess champion in Lagos emerged after the regional championship. We'll talk about him on the show tonight. And of course, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria will be leaving the shores of this country on Sunday to participate in the Africa Cup of Nations on the 20th. The lists are out. You get to hear all the names on the show tonight. 24 players, including, of course, their captain, Bamaye. That's the most popular players that most people know. Coach Zuberi has actually released a list of 24 players, including the captain. You get to hear about them on the show tonight. And, of course, we will talk about NWFL. It's on the menu tonight. You have likes of Edo Queens, Rivers Angels, Bayelsa Queens. They are all into the Super 6. Remo Stars can join them if they win on match day 13. Nasarawa Amazons are also chasing them. And of course, FC Robo are also chasing to see if they can pick a ticket. And Benue Queens, after 11 matches on match day 12, they finally recorded their first win of the season, and they were jubilating over that. They finally got a win. So in all the clubs in the NWFL, at least all of them have gotten one win or the other. Yes, and the show is a loaded package, and right here in Lagos studio, you've got, introduce yourself because it's a Thursday and you all know who is here.
Good to be here again. My name is still Boluwatito Nishola Omoni, and on a day where a sad note for many Real Madrid fans, like you said earlier, they'll probably be wiping their face with their 15 UEFA Champions League titles. It's always interesting when I come on Thursday because one thing is certain, we'll talk about the women's, the NWFL. It's always exciting. I say it every time. What a man can do, a woman can do better. If you don't believe that phrase, follow Nigerian sport. And I'm really, really happy for the lad who won the chess championship. It's always exciting where we see Nigerians thrive in other sports, not the regular football, table tennis, and the likes. Hopefully, he goes, maybe not even win the World Cup, but at least go there, make Nigeria proud, make Africa proud, and if possible, come home with the laurels.
Come home with it. Have we ever had a chess champion at the world stage? I know we've had it in Scrabble. We've never had that, where you have an international masters trying to see if he can be the first one. The world championship is going to be in October. So there's still time for us to wait for that. But let's start off with this one. The chess, of course, that's what we're starting off with. Tennyson Olisa has become the champion of the champions of chess in Africa. Champion of champions. That's what he won. He scored a total of 7.5 points in the final round of the maiden edition of the Super Zona tournament held in Lagos to win the title. So Algeria's Lina Nassar came second, while another Nigerian, he's the current West African champion, Abdurrahman Akintoye, finishing third. I believe everyone were looking at Abdurrahman Akintoye, not looking at Tennyson. But Tennyson Olisa was the one who won. He is a student from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, undergraduate, of course, and he has earned an international Master of Chess status. Just look at the three winners. I mean, take a look at them. Love the fact that we have a woman in India. Miss Olisa and Nassar, they will represent the continent at the Chess World Cup and Chess Grand Prix later this year, which is October, November, and it's taking place in India. That's where this will take place. Let's just take a listen to him, how excited it is for him to be able to win this coveted trophy.
Getting an IM title is not easy, and I think we only have like 7 IM title players in the country now. I think I should be the 7th, so it's not something that is so easy to get in the country. So with that, qualifying for the World Cup, obviously it's a good feat, and also the FIDE Grand Prix, which is also a very good tournament I want to play in because of the experience and all of that. Okay, the Grand Prix is an 11-round Swiss format tournament, so obviously in 11 rounds I'm not going there to go and finish below 5 points or something. I'm going there to do my best and obviously show out in the tournament. Then the World Cup, I think the World Cup is a knockout format, so play my best. I hope to see if I could pass the first round at least.
I realized a good performance, which I am proud of, and I'm happy to be ranked second in the open section of the Super Zonals, and I'm happier to represent Africa in the World Chess Cup this July, and to be qualified to the Women's Grand Swiss. This is a huge experience to me. I've played them before, but this time is going to be better, and I hope I will do a good result there. I'm very happy to be qualified.
Yeah, Linda, they're happy to have qualified. Austin, I mean, I know the federation in Nigeria here will be very, very proud of Tennessee, and also, of course, Africa will be proud of what Lina has been able to do. So we have 2 of them representing Africa at the World Chess Championship later in the year.
Yeah, that'll be coming up in July. Lina mentioned it, and that's just a reminder to the Chess Federation in Africa that they still have a work to do. You've got 2 representatives going to represent the continent at a world level, and they must be ready. You know, you must prepare them properly just so they can give us a good representation. But let's bring it back to Nigeria hosting these African Champions of Champions, chess events. Each time we organize, I like it more than when we compete, because that's an aspect where we're missing planning and organizing and looking at ways to explore the commercial angle of sports, So each time a competition is coming to Nigeria, I like to see the approach that the federation is giving to it. So with the conversations I've had about this, chess, no doubt they've been doing so well because we've been getting the right leadership, to run the likes of chess, Scrabble, you mentioned it, what we've done with Scrabble, some of that sports we can mention, good leadership, wrestling, with Daniel Igalo, handball with Samuel Ocheo, volleyball with Engineer Musa Nimrod, there's squash, we got, quite a number of those, badminton with Francis Obi. It tells you that leadership is very, very important. So when we organize this event, it's 360, Cecilia. We consider branding, we consider coaching, we consider the athletes, we consider the competition, environment, and then we think business. Bolu, I don't know about you these days. I know we are big on consumption. I don't just want us competing. I want to see us really plan a proper event and make it successful. What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest stories from here is everyone focused so much, like Cecilia said earlier, Abdurrahman Akitoye, then boom, out of the blues, a lad came up and won. I think that's what we should be looking forward to. It's always good to celebrate the champions in court. It's good to know who the best players are, but we need to plan for life after these guys. And it's things like this is beyond competitions. Competition, yeah, everybody come up with their game. After that, what next? Now this young guy has come to do the unthinkable. There should be many of Tennyson in Nigeria. There should be, in fact, things like this. First of all, I think the ambassador for chess in Nigeria should probably be Tunde Onokoya. That's number one. Find a way to link this boy together with him. Let them work together. Who says he can't win the world championship when you practice with the chess master? So I think we need to find a way to harness the things we have. Grow together. Now that we have a younger player that's taking over from Akitoye, who is supposed to be the boss, that's a message saying when we use these young guys, there are talents everywhere. Not just chess now. Talk about table tennis. We've been complaining that who is going to take over from Aaron Okorde? We are yet to see. Who is taking over from the best in every event? That is the definition of grassroots. Grassroots development is not organizing competitions every year for young players to compete. No, it is grooming them. Sometimes the best don't win, but we need to groom these best guys. So when the legends, in quotes, move away from the scene, we won't feel their absence at all.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And with the things you've mentioned, it's all around that, ecosystem of making it viable. FIDE, that's the international body for chess, and the Nigeria Chess Federation, they've been giving their observation. I hope they've considered some of the things we talked about. Let's listen to them.
Chess has been underplayed in this part of the world, and our zone is one of the least developed chess zones in the world. And by the virtue of our position, we are trying our best to ensure that we change the narrative and increase the level of chess awareness, increase chess popularity in Nigeria and in this zone, in the southwest, in the west coast zone of FIDE. The winner of the tournament is an unrated player, an untitled player. He's not titled, and this is about the first time he's taking part in an international event. And I've always said it, Nigerians are very good in chess because chess is a cerebral sport, and the natural resource that is required for this chess is natural intelligence, and Nigerians are naturally intelligent, I must tell you.
I recall during the last All Africa Games in Ghana, we were virtually pleaded first to see that we rescue the zonal chess championship. As soon as this thing happened, then added to that, we were given the super zonal, which is an inaugural edition. So it cannot be quantifiable in monetary terms, but socially, and is of advantage. Is advantageous to the country and to the players. I think it has given them confidence. Apart from social interaction, it gives them boost for podium participation in future.
All right, just listening to them and what chess have done for the country. And hopefully, the two players who spoke earlier, they go ahead and do Africa proud in that championship. Let's leave chess and quickly go straight to flag football. Yes, we've always been talking about flag football. And I remember the last time Austin said they don't get enough publicity. So we're trying to give them more now so that people will know that, yes, there's flag football in Nigeria. It's been on since 2019 when the federation started, and they're grooming enough players. Yes, right now they have opportunity to compete at the Olympics because flag football has been added as one of the Olympic sports. So on the April 26th, that's when the camp will open for the girls. And that's the reason you're having so many events coming up. The last time they had trials, Olympic trials in Lagos and Abuja. This time around, they're coming up with the GEM, Grid Iron Gems. That's launching a kind of a program, a project that will empower the girls to play the football. So this program, or rather this project, is fully for the girls because they want more girls to actually play. When you talk about having Nigerians being drafted into the NFL, they also want that to happen, for the girl child, knowing that, yes, they can actually dream and achieve something.
Well, one thing we've seen in about, I think over 2 decades now or thereabouts, is that women are getting into literally every sport now. I don't think there's any sport now you can say it is a men's sport. Yeah, men dominate many, but I don't think that, in fact, there's sports for women, not for men. Talk about netball.
Netball.
I don't think there's a sport that men are doing that women are not getting involved in. And many of those things, because they are dominated by men, there are always special things created for the women, just to allow girls to be involved in all these events and sports and participate very well. Most people think, oh, flagship, this is too rough for girls to play. Guys, they go headlong and everything. Rugby now, women play and everything. So I think what this will do for the girls is, when you see young people like you, when you see girls like you, either the bodied one or the very slim one, participating and competing, I think it will encourage you. At least you can be assured that we are not. Sometimes the flag event, we see girls and guys play together, but this one, you know, it is just you and you. So if you are shy to play or compete against a guy, at least you can see a fellow female person and compete well with it. So I think this should go well. And there's always a certain bias for events that are for women. I'm sure they will likely even get more sponsors before the guys get their own.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing about this program is, Austin, if you can see the people present, you have Aisha Falode. She was part of the executive member of the Nigerian Football Federation. She was there. You also have the former First Lady of Ondo State, Betty Akeredolu. She was also there, of course. The president and representative of Chioma Ajowan. She was supposed to be around, but she couldn't make it, but she had to send the representative. The Minister of Youth also send a representative, and all of them. So you have so many people, and then you have young women who are actually CEOs of their companies. They were also there to, actually, help the girls, mentor them, and tell them you may not be that 1% that will excel in sports, but you can actually, make something out of it, because a sport, it's something that will give you everything you need. You know what? Before Austin will chip in, let's take a listen to the president of the Nigeria American Football Association, and also one of those who mentor these girls, who also own her own company, talking about Adesoa. Let's listen to them. For honoring.
Once anything's in the Olympics, there's new interest in that thing. Once there's new interest, there's going to be both opportunities for male and female. We don't see men as an advantage or anything. We believe, well, if there's going to be this, it will make sense for us to start to build out this platform that would guarantee not just that our girls can go play and do big things in the Olympics. And when we saw that opportunity, we said yes. By default, the male thing is always automatic. But there needs to be some level of support, some additional effort that's going to go into building out a structure that will drive female participation. We have very clear targets. In the next 5 years, cumulatively, we're trying to reach 150,000 girls to be actively playing American football. Historically, NAFA had a plan to reach 400,000 people playing in 4 years. But now we are now looking at an additional 150,000 playing just from the women group, because such a platform affords us that opportunity. And then, of course, we can't do this without coaches and referees. So we're also trying to build capacity for at least 10,000 coaches and referees within the next 5 years.
I've been playing sports since the age of 7. Played all the way to a national level where I broke records, and today some of these records still stand. So I played discus, netball, hockey, tennis, athletics. I did a lot. And today, if I look back and now I'm a CEO and also the first woman in Nigerian history to own and hold a telecoms license and build a mobile network. And I look back and I'm like, and I look back and I wonder, where did I get these traits from? And I really believe it's from playing sports, right? It's a discipline, it's decision making, it's the ability to be like emotionally intelligent. And to be focused, right? So I think all these experiences, made me who I am today. The impact is multifaceted, right? Because once you impact a girl, you impact a nation, right? So we're talking about breaking intergenerational like poverty, right? And lifting people out of communities, depraved communities. The impact is gigantic, right? We're talking about affecting national development, socioeconomic indices. So to people, it looks like it's just sports. No, it's not. It's a platform for change, right? It's a platform for development. It's a platform for leadership. And that's how leaders are born. Typically, it's on a sports field. Like we heard here today, right? All the CEOs, what do we all have in common? We played sports at a young age, so.
That's something they have in common. They played sports. I don't know how Austin. Okay, we need to go on a break, right? So when we come back, Austin will react to this. Welcome back. Austin?
I love it. I love everything you talked about, Cecilia. You know, I like the deliberate efforts Nigerian women are making to make their voices heard. And shout out to all the men that are also supporting the women, because inclusion is a big movement all over the world. Nigeria must not be left behind. I remember when we talked about flag football, I would love the rise, the popularity it is getting all over the world now. It's going to be an Olympic sport. And if we are talking about the men and we're not talking about the women, then where are we going, you know, in terms of the world moving with inclusion? So I love it. I love the fact that everyone turned up for it. Shout out to Aisha Falode, the former First Lady of Ondo State. Adesua was also there. And I could see all of them in their, you know, in their glory, saying that, look, it's time for the women. And say no more, Cecilia, the IOC president now is a woman. And when you use sports to empower young girls, you are building the nation, you know, because you're helping them live their dreams. You're tapping into their raw talents. You're exposing their passion. You're giving them a voice. You're making them, you know, responsible citizens of, you know, the country. And it's a win-win for us, because when you empower the girl child, she grows up to become a woman, become a mother, you know, and look after the country. So we need people to come and support this, you know. Well, anything that has empowering girls, women, I think as a country we should take it seriously. And if sports is that way that we can use, particularly now that we're talking American football, then Cecilia, we should get into it, because there are a lot of opportunities out here in Europe, in America, that they can tap from. And then when they come back home, they will impact the country, Cecilia.
Definitely. I mean, that's key, Bolu. I know you completely agree with this one. The key factor that they have to do everything possible to ensure, yes, we really have more girls. And of course, when they have the role model, they're looking at people, they're looking at the likes of Aisha Falode, they're looking at the likes of, you know, Adesua, they're looking at so many people, and they know that, yes, these people play sports, these people did sports. You may not end up be, you know, a superstar. You can also do something different that will, you know, make you a good leader in the future.
It's, you know, everyone that the key speakers you mentioned, not all of them who played active or professional sports, but they are all thriving in their field, which is the most important thing. Most of us played sports growing up, but it's not everybody that will end up becoming a sportsman. But that key thing, that's why sometimes I like talks like this to encourage them that give your best to become an elite athlete, but still doesn't mean you will be. But if you end up not becoming a professional athlete, there has to be something in the background for you. You may be a failed athlete in quotes and end up becoming a CEO tomorrow. You may not thrive as a sports person and become a professional coach tomorrow. So it's always good when you bring, and one of the things also mentioned about bringing girls together. I like that they've started. By the time younger girls see their colleagues doing well in this thing, they will definitely be encouraged. For example, I'm a young girl. I've seen maybe an 18, 20-year-old lady doing so well. And I'm seeing others as well speaking to me, telling me how they also did. It will encourage me to do more. So I like the setup. I like everything. And it's always exciting when you bring girls together to thrive. So hopefully it's not a one-off thing. It's something that goes on to become, I wouldn't mind if they do better than the boys at the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah, I would love that. All right, let's talk about the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, this Sunday they'll have to pack their bags and fly over to Egypt, where the AFCON on the 20th will be holding. We have the names of the players that the coach Zuberi has finally chosen after rounds of campaign. They were Katsina at first, and then they move back to Abuja, you know, playing friendlies and all of it. We'll just take a look at the names, the final squad that will represent Nigeria right there in Egypt. Now, let's start off with the goalkeepers. You have Ifeanyi Harcourt of Sporting Lagos. He was picked. Rufai Abubakar of Mavlon. And you have Saliu Yakub of Movi Raza. That's in Serbia. So these are some of the players that have been picked for this tournament. So let's take a look at the defenders. Adamu Megiri of Academy Warriors. You have Odinaka Okoro of Sporting Lagos. Daniel Bemeyi of Bayelsa United. There's the most popular players mentioned, like the captain of the team. Emmanuel Chukum of Offenham in Germany. Chigozie Hiejefo of Katsina United. So these are the defenders that have been picked for that. Let's take a look at the midfielders. You have Caleb Ochediku of Pula, who plays in Croatia. You saw Israel Ayuma of NK Israel, also in Croatia. Simon Kletus of Mavlon. Sulaiman Jojo of Academy Warriors. Our Ibrahim of Akwa United. You have Safiu Duguri of Wiki Tourist. So these are the midfielders. Let's go to the forwards. And the forwards, you have Precious Benjamin, also of Effingham in Germany. Ezekiel Bango of Inspire. You have Divine Olisa of Foster Academy. Clayton Japta of Eyimba. And Bidemi Amole of Real Safira. That's also an academy in Lagos. The forwards continue. Tahi Magana of Wireless. You have Theophilus Rickson of Niger Tornadoes. Marubo Ariehe of Listrom in Norway. They have Matthew Kingsley of Kings and Yeshua Amir of Katsina United. So these are the players that will be representing Nigeria at the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations taking place in Egypt. Bolu, you've seen the stars. Can they do the job? We are WAFU champions. We can go a notch higher. Nigeria has won this tournament 7 times. They're looking for the 8th one.
Well, like everyone or almost everyone will tell, the first hurdle is to qualify for semi-final.
Yeah.
From then on, at least secure the World Cup tickets. Then let's see how far you can go to win the competition. The World Cup, which is very, very, at least the World Cup, the ones are fighting for at least the younger ones can find a way to go through. But beyond that, it's an underage event. We need to see them. But being underage is completely different from under 17. This time they are getting better. They are hitting the professional level, which you will expect from some persons like this. You mentioned it earlier. They've won this event 7 times. There's nothing stopping them from making it 8th. Look at the Falcons that you're mentioned, not the Super Eagles. And after winning, it means there's more on you guys to do well at the World Cup. Like I said earlier, that's even far-fetched. The first hurdle has to be try as much as you can. I know they're in a tough group. They are playing 2 North Africans in that group. But whatever happens, try as much as you can to qualify for the semi-final. Then we'll take it over from there.
That's what it's key. All right. Sports Nights will continue on all other platforms. But on the DSTV platform, we'll be having the documentary from Zamfara State. Okay, we'll continue now on all other platforms. So I believe you're watching us from around the world, especially on our stream. If you go to YouTube, just click on the stream, you'll be able to watch. On DSTV, you'll be seeing something different. That's a documentary from Zamfara, right? Austin, I mean, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, yes, they are ready. And this Sunday, they will be leaving the shores of the country to have, I think, 10 days. They'll have a window of like 10 days to play different games and friendlies and also acclimatize and get ready, to see if they can win the trophy for the 8th time. But Bolu here has said that securing a World Cup ticket, that is key. Remember, Ghana has won this tournament at the world stage, the only African country to have done that.
Yeah, I like it. And I've always talked about the
developmental,
as being one that we can use to, if we are true to ourselves, Cecilia, that we can use to build our football, And that's why when we struggle at the under-20 level, it's not a surprise to me because I just look back and say, where are we coming from? Or if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So this is good that they're going to be having a good camping exercise, and they're going to play tune-up games, before the under-20 AFCON. I like the list. In a way, a mixture of foreign-based players from the NPFL and I think a bit of academy players here and there. So let's see what Coach Zubairu can do with this team. I think he's becoming to understand football at the age grade. Makes me remember Manu Garba, one man that you can say really understands football at that level also. But has he really worked with the team? Do they have the sort of blend understanding? Is there a progression plan? Because Cecilia, if we go to the AFCON and we win it, and in 5 years' time you cannot point one player. For instance, you see when people see Daniel Bamayi now, they're asking, is he not growing beyond 20? Because it's been like this team for like forever. That's what happens when there's no progression, there's no long-term planning. And I said to you that everything about grassroots development in my life changed when I met this professor at the German School of Sport that said for you to transform sports at the grassroots, the first thing you need is to have a conscience, and that's what seems to be lacking with our football.
Okay.
So we wish them well, let them go, come back. We're just here to, always represent the motherland the best way we can, support the team, in the media, we put words out there. And hopefully someday these lads will live their dreams of, representing Nigeria at the senior level.
Right, that's the hope. Let's see what's going to happen in Egypt. Okay, let's go to the President Federation Cup. Austin, you love upsets, right? I wish you were here. You just run through these upsets. Because who could have thought that Enyimba... I mean, you just look. I run through the result, and you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. Because who could have thought that Enyimba would lose to a club known as Abakaliki? Who could have thought about that? Well, it's almost also a club from the eastern part of the country. Now, Better Insurance lost in Lagos to Rangers by a lone goal. Enyimba losing at 2-0 to this name. So remember this name, and then you understand what this is. So of all the names they have here that are through to the next round, happens to be, this is the only name that you look at, you wonder what are they doing in the midst of big boys. But they've done something wonderful. Ikorodu City and Beyond Limits, Ikorodu City won by 2-0. Plateau United beating Osun United by 2-1. Kwara United and Solution FC. Solution had the solution for Kwara. It ended 3-0. And these are other results. You have Akwa United beating Inter Lagos 1-0. But Nasarawa United and Bayelsa ended 1-1. Nasarawa went on to win 5-3 on penalty. So Bayelsa United are out. I remember their commissioner was here in the studio talking about how much progress they're making in the Federation Cup. Right now, they're out of it. Warrior Wolves and Wicked Tourists. Wicked Tourists won after it went to penalties 4-3 on penalties. So let's take a look at the teams for the quarterfinals. Abakaliki and Nasarawa United will face each other. You have Wicked Tourists and Ikorodu City. Akwa United and Kwara United. You have Plateau United and Rangers. So this is the quarterfinals fixture. Did you see it coming, Bolu?
How on earth would I say Abakaliki FC beating Enyimba? And I think the club was even formed a few months ago. So it's not even an old club. I'll get it to, I think it's a win already for them. Getting to the quarterfinal of the Federation's Cup.
They should give them a small trophy, right?
Exactly. And the way they are going, they may end up even beating Nasarawa United. Remember how unstable Nasarawa United have been all season in the NPFL. They had to struggle through penalty to win the round of 16 to get here. Now they are taking on a team who is built by the fact that they defeated Enyimba. Not via penalty, not maybe a smash and grab goal, 2-0. I think I may even tilt a bit towards them in this Nasarawa United fixture. That has to be the biggest upset. I know Ikorodu City beating Beyond Limits is also a good result, a revenge of what happened to them in the NNL for last season. But that has to be the biggest upset. And we saw some revenge mission games. We saw a revenge of a team final of 2 years ago. We saw final of 3 years ago, coming back penalties and all. But that's what the President Federation Cup does, especially teams in the NPFL who know they can't make the top 3. They know the other option for us to qualify for the continent is to go through the back door, which is winning the President Federation's Cup. Teams like Rangers who know that qualifying through the league is going to be very tough or almost impossible for them. Akwa United, Austin, who look like they're going down to the NNL. So it's tough. And that's what competition does for you. We see it in the Premier League in England all the time, the FA Cup. We see it in Spain, the Copa del Rey and every other cup. So this is our own. And having upsets like Wicked Tourists, having upsets like Ikorodu City, having upsets like Abakaliki FC is definitely going to be. The fact that Ikorodu City and Wicked Tourists are playing each other means we'll see at least one of the minnows in the semi-final.
That's what it is. Austin, I mean, you were shocked by that result, right?
I call for it all the time. I want to see upset.
And you were too shocked for this.
It's officially this should be their worst season ever. Abakaliki FC is 10th on the Group B table in the NNL out of 11. They are 10th. They are battling relegation. So you don't even want to meet that kind of team. They'll play with anger, because they'll be saying to themselves they can go all the way. And I think what we saw last season with the NNL teams, bossing the Federation.
Academy Warriors.
Academy Warriors. Yes, they gained promotion before they won it. But we can confidently there was an NNL side that won the Federation season. So Wicked Tourists can dream. Abakaliki can dream. But as Bolu said, the likes of Akwa United, Nasarawa United, they'll be saying, this is like the last redemption song we have to sing. So it's going to be very, very interesting in the quarterfinals. We'll wait and see what the competition will give us, Cecilia.
Fingers crossed. Let's quickly move on to NWFL, that's Nigeria Women's Football League Premiership, the top flight, the games from match day 12. We have the results. Edo Queens still unbeaten in all. They defeated Danas Ladies 3-1. Heartland and Remo Stars settles for sports. So Heartland, Remo Stars ladies, they will have to wait till match day 13 to see if they can secure a Super 6 ticket. Ikiti Queens and Nasarawa Amazons ended 2-2, and Confluence Queens losing at home to Abia Angels. That's from Group A. Now let's go over to Group B. Rivers Angels and Delta Queens. Rivers Angels winning by 3-0. Niger Rattles and FC Robo Queens. Niger Rattles winning by a lone goal, and Adamawa Queens, Bayelsa 1-0. Bayelsa they've qualified for Super 6, so it really means nothing. So that means they're still unbeaten, but then this is their first, them dropping a point for the first time. Benue Queens and Ibom Angels. I think this is the result of the week, Bolu.
Benue Queens had to win again.
What everyone was actually talking about.
It just shows all hope and all loss. No matter how down you are, there's probably still hope. But I think it has to, yes, they played at home, but it has to be the biggest news. Not because the Ibom Angels are superb, not because the Ibom Angels have been brilliant, but it felt like Benue Queens are never going to pick up any points or any win in the NPFL. I think they had just 1 point before this match. Now they picked up their first win. Let's see how far they can go from here. But it was good enough to see them win. It was good to see them celebrate. You could see the excitement. Right. Even though deep down they thought, well, we may still go down. But at least we are not going down with 0 wins.
They're not going down with 0 wins. If you look at the table, the way it's looking like. Okay, let me just quickly run through the table. We have in Group A, Edo Queens on 32 points after 12 games. Goal difference of +20. Remo Stars Ladies closely followed by 26 points after 12 matches. They've lost to Edo Queens, yet to lose, but they've had 2 draws. You have Nasarawa Amazons, of course. They are closely followed by the third, 25 points there from 12 games. Abia Angels, and then 12 games, 22 points. Then you have Confluence Queens, 4 points after 12 matches. Let's look at Group B. Bayelsa Queens leading the pack on 30 points after 12 matches. They've won 9 games so far this season, also yet to lose. Rivers Angels, they've lost just 1 on 29. FC Robo follow closely on 19 points after 12, and Niger Rattles following there in the top 4. You have Benue Queens, of course, 4 points from 12 games in first one. So let's quickly talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, the trophy tour is going around the country, and of course, the reason why trophy tour is going around the country. Okay, do we have to talk about Champions League and leave FIFA Club World Cup? We will leave that for tomorrow. Okay, I think my producer is telling me to leave that for tomorrow. Now, quickly run through the UEFA Champions League. Yes, what happened last night? To have a recap of that. Real Madrid and Arsenal beating Real Madrid home and away 2-1 at Santiago Bernabeu, and of course 3-0 at the Emirates. 5-1 on aggregate. Now, this is the result you really want to see. 5-1 on aggregate. You're talking about Real Madrid. And earlier on Tuesday, you have PSG and Aston Villa trying to come back, but they couldn't complete that comeback. And they're 3-2, but the PSG had to go 5-4 on aggregate. Dortmund and Barcelona. Dortmund also tried to fight back. They won 3-1 on the 9th. Well, Barcelona, that 4 goals they scored in the first leg, ended 4-3 on aggregate. Now, you have the semi-finals all set. The teams that will be playing the semi-finals, Arsenal and PSG. You have Barcelona and Inter Milan. That's the semi-final fixtures. Austin?
I know, Cecilia, what a story for Arsenal. I had to, honor them with my introduction, because nobody, look, I've been covering football for close to 16, 17 years now. Nobody would tell me they predicted or they saw that after 2 legs, the result will be Real Madrid 1, Arsenal 5. Come and I'll tell you a liar. No way, football wouldn't have. What a performance by the Gunners. They told critics to just everybody keep quiet, particularly with the way they picked themselves back up at the Bernabeu right after Saka lost the penalty. And then that call that was, reversed by VAR when Real Madrid were given a penalty also. They picked themselves back up. They sharpened their mentality and they went all the way. Incredible Gunners, I think if this is what the God of football wants to give to them as consolation for all of the monies that Arsenal has spent in the last 2 seasons to say, okay, go all the way, and I think they deserve it. Now let's talk about Barcelona also making it to the semifinals. It's also a big one for them, but they have to, Inter Milan, if the way they dispatched Bayern Munich, then Barcelona should be worried. I'm not saying Arsenal is home and dry because they've got PSG. PSG is arguably the most informed team right now in Europe. Their level of consistency and the blend of football.
Villa 3-2.
But Cecilia, they did just enough. And if they could go to Villa Park and before halftime score 2 goals, football is about strategies, tactics, And Luis Enrique has found a way to keep it going. So yes, okay. Yes, they lost last Villa, but they're now in the semi-finals, So let's see what that fixture will be against Arsenal. But Barcelona and Inter Milan will also be explosive. We cannot wait for the semi-final action to be. Yeah, do we have some time to get it?
Yeah.
The Europa League.
Yeah, let me quickly come to Bolu before we go to that Europa League. Bolu, your thoughts on Arsenal. They've been here. This is the first time they're here since 2000, and that's a long time ago. Also, already saying that over there in England, they're saying just give them something to remember that 5-1 victory over the owners of the UEFA Champions League. How far can they go?
Football is just an interesting sport. 4 games against Arsenal and just 1 goal, no win between Real Madrid and Arsenal. Like also rightly said, even Arsenal fans, despite going 3-0 up, were scared of that game yesterday. It shows the level of Real Madrid. But one thing Arsenal do well is when I checked Arsenal starting 78 games, they've only conceded 2 goals in 16 matches. In their last 79 matches now, they've not conceded 3. I knew it was a tall order for Real Madrid. And immediately they missed that penalty. Okay, there was hope, but they picked themselves up, got back into the team. That's a team with determination. It may not get them the title, but I'm sure what they did against Real Madrid, I thought even if they would win, maybe win 1, lose 1, and maybe aggregate stakes whoever will qualify through. But beating Real Madrid home and away for any team, Atletico Madrid couldn't do it. Manchester City couldn't do it. I think you have to give credit to Arteta and his boys at Arsenal for what they've done. But I'm laughing at people underrating PSG, telling us that Villa also won against them. I told people it's complacency that killed them against Villa in that second leg because they had scored 2. If Villa scored first, it could have been similar to what we saw in the first leg. This second semi-final game is very, very balanced. Inter Milan are the most underrated team here, and they look like the most balanced team defensively and offensively. But it's the semi-final of the Champions League where you can't snooze. If you snooze at all, you are in trouble. I like the teams there. Any of them can pick up the victory. Personal opinion, I think whoever wins between Barcelona and Inter Milan would win. But that's personal opinion. Opinion doesn't guarantee what happens on the last day. But the first legs in this game will be very important. And Barcelona playing at home and Arsenal playing at home will have to do everything they can to make sure they pick up favorable results and do the business here. But let's see what happens. The semi-final is almost here.
Austin, you have to go. Teta.
But I'll take about 30 seconds to tell you this quick
Europa
story.
League.
Manchester United and Lyon. Just before halftime, Dalot scored for Manchester United, and they took a 2-0 lead into the break. They came back in the 71st minute. Cecilia, Tolisso scored for Lyon. 7 minutes later, Lyon scored again. So it's Manchester United 2, Lyon 2 is 4-4 on aggregate. What's the color of Manchester United's problem? That's the color. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
The answer is the color is colorless. Bolu, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure coming.
Okay. I know you support Real Madrid, so well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night's rest.